What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Bobby Thigh, Eric Sheetshaber. We're going to be talking about this big slate, a little bit bigger on FanDuel. And I just want to remind everybody, this is the time of year, if you're playing NBA, you really, it's true all the time with the NBA, but it's never more true than these weeks. You're going to see guys sitting out of the blue that have no designation. You're going to see guys potentially traded, especially with what happened, over the weekend. I just think there's going to be a lot out there, and you're going to see a lot of players sitting. So just make sure you're late swapping as effectively as you can. Make sure you're by your computer. If you're going to do that for NBA, honestly, I would almost advise don't play NBA unless you can make every late swap possibly available, because there is going to be news that happens consistently after lock that always happens. Then there's going to be the other news where players may or may not be being traded and or are rumored in trade things, and they'll have to sit out, and we just don't know yet. All right, so the question of, do I think Levine plays? I don't even think that there's is there a rumor that he might? I don't think it matters for what it's worth. But no, I don't. To answer that question, I haven't heard anything. So I'd be stunned if Levine just plays right out tonight. I think Levine's probably going to get traded again. So that's my guess. Anyway, so I unless I see Levine is starting tonight, I'm not going to do anything but assume that he's out. All right. So getting into who is actually playing, we have obviously a bunch of guys out, as sort of I was speculating on earlier with the Milwaukee. We lost both Lillard and Giannis, so that's going to be where you're getting the majority of your value, as well as some from Sacramento. But there is some extreme value, which means it's probably a Jokic and Wemby night, or Jokic or Wemby night, depending on how you want to look at it. But it's there's a lot out there that it makes it just super easy to get those guys in. Are you finding yourself coming across those guys a lot more than you usually would?
So this is the way I'm looking at this slate. This Milwaukee value is a lot of that is going to depend on who's starting and all this stuff. And it's going to, and the projections are going to change as a result of that. As we mentioned, Morant is questionable. They say he could return. So that is news that is definitely pending. That is going to impact some projections over there. You have, I guess, San Antonio. There's going to be no De'Aaron Fox, I imagine. But the point is that like all that stuff is 8:00, and we're going to have to wait to see what happens with it. We're going to have to play it, but there's no real reason in my head to think about it. Like right now, okay, 93% Ryan Rollins, whatever. But what happens if he doesn't start for some reason?
He'll start, but yeah.
Okay, well, all right.
He has every time this has come up before, where even one of them sits, he started every one of those games. So. So what we have to deal with are these first sets of games, and this first sets of games already, there's a decision. Well, there's a decision we're going to know the answer to, because Jordan Poole was a late questionable designation with an illness. Okay, so and it's the first game of the day. So we're going to sit and we have to wait and see what happens with that, because that game, contrary to what my SaberSim panel is showing me again, does be a high total game, or at least a high paced game. Yeah. So if I still see Misic, he's questionable still. Yep. So like all these guys, these are guys we have to pay attention to first. Okay. We're going to have to deal with the Minnesota, with all that other stuff later. And like you said, I mean, there's no way you could put lineups in at 650 and then I'm not looking at them again. Okay. You're gonna have to see what's going on with these later. To that, we just got Şengün ruled out. So that's actually a big piece for potentially the 7:30 games, because I think what's now Amen, Jalen Green, and honestly, and probably Deshaun Tate and somebody else. Maybe it's Reed Shepherd night. I don't even know. Tari Eason, maybe. There's no Van Vliet and no Şengün. I think we have to there's probably going to be something we have to do, but we'll know that probably pretty shortly.
So Steven Adams is going to start? Is that the story?
Yeah, but so do you even want to use your center spot on Steven Adams is the other part of that. it's an interesting because Cat's an outside shooter, and like, would they even want to play Steven Adams, who won't come leave the paint against Cat? So you might see like Jeff Green. Maybe he doesn't start, but like those minutes could end up not going to Steven Adams. They could play small with Tari Eason. Deshaun Tate might get more run. I'll wait for the projections to update. But either way, that's not even till 7:30. So I guess we can talk about the first games with all that stuff said, because we kind of have an idea of at least Atlanta, Detroit. We don't have any questionables, at least as of right now, and it's a game with a massive total that no one is really playing, and I'm kind of one of those no one. I have no issue if you want to play Risa Shea, Trae Young. I think I would rather just use this game, though, for spend ups or spend mediums rather than any value. That's the way I'd treat it. Like, I wouldn't play Isaiah Stewart, who always can have a game. He's minimum cost, but there's just so much other value that we're going to get that I don't know that I would make a play like that today. But I would still be open to the Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Trae Young. Those guys would all still be in my mix, but that's the first one. But you're right. It's hard to know what to do with Washington until we hear about Jordan Poole. And wow, this Washington total on SaberSim, they just dropped it a ton. I'm really confused. I've never seen a game with a 198 total in recent memory. I haven't seen.
No, it's a glitch.
It's got to be a glitch, right?
But you mentioned you might not want to use Steven Adams in the center spot, but we do have to deal with Valanciunas in the first game, right?
So we do have to deal with Valanciunas on and Mark Williams, especially on FanDuel, where he's a little bit cheaper. And I think Valanciunas we've seen it bust for everyone. Now everyone's tired of it. So it seems like the right time to go back to it, to me. Charlotte's given up 7 million fantasy points to centers. We never know with Valanciunas exactly what his minutes are going to be. They just played a 3 and 4. Now he's at least had and I guess this will be a 4 and 6, so you could argue against him. But I don't think I'm not taking a heavyweight or an underweight. I'm probably going to be right around the field at the 10%-ish range on Valanciunas personally.
Well, the other thing is you mentioned like Trae and Cade Cunningham, so that brings up again a construction question. So if you have all this value, there's several ways you could do it. I mean, you can play whoever you want. So what does that mean? It means you could either play like Jokic and let's just compare these two ideas, like Jokic and a 6K guy, or like 2 8,500s or something like that, or 9Ks. And so when you play stuff like, I think that's always kind of a cool way to play, is to, instead of playing Jokic and like Valanciunas, I mean, for example, just for pricing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You play like Trae and like Cade Cunningham for like the same game,
mm-hmm.
and hope the game just kind of goes off, and those two outscore Jokic and whatever. Keeping in mind, remember that the Detroit Atlanta game is a 240 point total, just like the Denver New Orleans game, except Detroit Atlanta is rates to be a close game. So right. it's more likely that you get your full run out of that game than you are out of the Jokic play.
Right.
To that point, I'm sort of inclined, unless you wanted to play both of them, that I probably played Wemby before Jokic, like for that reason. You're paying a lot for both, and you're paying a lot for Wemby, but Wemby is in he's in a 240 point total game with a pick and spread, as opposed to Jokic is in a 240 point game with a 10 point spread, and Jokic will be higher owned. So I don't know. I'm curious to see who I actually get to after all the different variations of late swap. I'm gonna have to kick in when they all come in. I wonder at the end of the day how much Jokic in that 9 o'clock game is left over. I'll probably end up with all of them, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out the thing about Wemby that just is worth noting. And like, if there's one team that can defend him in the NBA, it's probably Memphis. Jaren Jackson Jr. has done the best job of any player against him so far in his young career. I think he's shooting like 30% from the field, if not worse. And that would be the only argument. But the pace, he's going to do so many other things in these games, and he has in the other games as well. He's going to get the steals and the blocks. That's going to come naturally, just because the way that the Ja plays. But you could make a case for hey, if you're going to play Wemby, why not play Ja Morant on the other side, who is questionable, but if he plays, he's going to be a full go, And without Desmond Bain, this is a spot where in the past we would have locked in a guy like Morant.
Yep.
But there's a lot of good options tonight. So, like getting this question from who asked the question? Let me see. Actually, I saw that. Thoughts on Aaron Gordon? MJ asked it. That game's later. My thoughts are I don't think Aaron Gordon is going to play tonight. That's my prediction. Late day downgrade for injury management is a very strange effect.
Okay.
So what I would do is what I've done is I bumped up Christian Braun's projection because there's already no Westbrook and Braun's already a reasonable play. And if Gordon's out, Braun is a fantastic play. So I don't care if I get stuck with Braun, but I'm probably not going to end up with hardly any, if any, of the Aaron Gordon. The only reason I could is because I'll have an easy 2v2 swap because I'm going to have Jokic in most of my lineups no matter what I do tonight.
I don't even see this Gordon downgrade. That's like so funny.
Yeah, he was downgraded. Let me just double check that I'm still correct on this.
I don't see it in DraftKings. I mean, you could be right. But...
Yeah, DraftKings won't necessarily have the latest thing. Let me just see. Where did I get that from? Yeah, Aaron Gordon now listed as questionable as of 40 minutes ago.
Okay.
So, so Jimmy says Eason and Tate are starting. I haven't seen that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Tari Eason, Sean Tate will start for Şengün and Fred VanVleet. Both those guys are going to look like good plays as well. And like you said, we don't have to make those decisions till a little bit later, which is 7:30. But
you have to make. Well, let's first things first. We'll see what's going on with Poole, right?
Yeah.
And if in Poole, we can think about this. Like if Poole's going to be out, does that mean that we're going to be playing? Well, we can play Koulibaly anyway, right? I mean, who else would get an upgrade? Kuzma, I guess.
Carrington.
Right.
And probably Brogdon, which is a really weird one that I don't want to play, but it is a perfect example of like you could use a show me game out of Brogdon and maybe get something for him. You know what I mean? Like because he's another guy who might be traded along with pieces. Like they're tanking anyway. And Brogdon is not, he's not the same guy he was, but he can be a backup. He can be the 8th or 9th man on a good team's rotation. I think he's still capable of that. Yeah, it's a good question. And then Kuzma would be the obvious one, but the problem is I just can't get over this. I feel that Kuzma must be checked out a little bit because I listen to every trade rumor thing, and I don't know if I've heard another name mentioned more than Kyle Kuzma.
Oh, yeah.
He did play great the other night. So to go in my, to go against that, he's a high volatility player. So I would let ownership, I guess, dictate what happens with Poole as far as Kuzma goes. But a boost for Joval, a boost for Koulibaly, a boost for Carrington, and a boost for Brogdon would be my first thoughts.
What about we could talk about these Milwaukee guys. I mean, they're gonna get waxed. But I mean, so what is I mean, it's not even so much they're gonna get waxed, but they're gonna get waxed by a team that plays good defense. Like it's It's not like oh great, Milwaukee's gonna get all great blowout run. It's gonna be a shit show and they'll lose 135 to 110. I don't think it works that way. I think it's like a 110 to 69 game, maybe. You know what I mean?
It could be one of those like 115 to like 80 or something like that.
I know, but it's kind of hard for everybody to bust. It's like
it's totally impossible.
I mean, someone's got to get there. Hey, I mean, like, right? I mean, like,
but is it like a play no one's going to play because is it like Beauchamp off the bench or something? That could be right. That could be the one that does it. It could be DeLon Wright.
One of those who is guys. What about who is Tyler Smith? Like,
yeah, that's one that I don't see as getting in the game, but it's possible.
He's got a 15-point projection. I mean,
I know, but all these guys do.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, why is his 15-point projection any worse than Dylan Wright's 16-point projection? Or
that's fair.
Or Pat Connaughton's 15. Pat Connaughton will probably be higher owned because people have heard of him.
But DeLon Wright people too.
No, Dylan Wright also.
Yeah.
But who's heard of Tyler Smith?
You're right. Nobody.
Does he actually exist?
He's a human. I know that. I don't know if he's ever played a basketball game before in the NBA or for any paper.
Who gets a 15-point projection having never played a game?
It's just and it's crazy because they're still projected to play like 12 guys tonight, even with these guys out. So it's not like they only have like 9 bodies or something, the natural. I still think Ryan Rollins is a very difficult fade.
Has he done it before? I mean,
yeah,
okay.
And he's done it with like Giannis playing, like when Lillard was out earlier in the season, and then when Giannis was out, he had another game where he got there. I mean, we're not talking about massive, but he hasn't been in this situation he was actually. I think there was one game with both of them out where he put up like 33 or something. But they don't usually sit Lillard and Giannis at the same time, and just throw away games. I really don't like that about the NBA. I really wish. And by the way, you never know. There's that weird thing that happens where even to good teams where you just get that weird, like, okay, this team is a 1,000,000-point underdog. They're missing all their players. And you just get the rally. You get hot from 3 early in the game. Everybody's a little juiced up because they finally get to play. And it happens throughout the course of a season. So yeah, I think it's interesting. All right. What else?
No, this guy hasn't gotten into the game yet. I'm looking like these guys.
No, he hasn't played.
No. I'm looking. I was at a different guy. I was looking at the Infali Dante, Houston's third string center, who has not gotten into a game.
Yeah, I think if so, they're going to start. I mean, the fact that they're not starting Steven Adams is kind of interesting.
They have starters.
It speaks to my point. Well, yeah, they announced. I don't actually know who else is starting. So, but I'm assuming the normal guys will start. But they're saying Tari Eason and Deshaun Tate will start for Şengün and Van Vliet.
Oh, okay.
So those are going to be the ones you look for, especially. I mean, I'm guessing Tari Eason's got to
be just small or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, Tari Eason's 3,200. Cam Whitmore is going to be a better play now. But it might spread out a little bit with Houston because they've got a lot of good players. I still think Amen Thompson is. If I gamble with Amen Thompson every day, my life would be really good. So I don't mind that one, like he's just awesome. And it's, it's the Knicks. It's not an ideal matchup or anything like that, but you're missing Van Vliet and Şengün.
Right.
You're their second best player. And I think Amen Thompson, actually, you know what? Amen Thompson is their best player. Let me take that away. I think he's actually their best player.
What's that spread doing? Oh, is that only 5?
It's 7 last time I saw. Let's see. I don't think it's updated yet on the NBA page, but I'm sure somewhere it's out there. But it's 7.
Just so you know, Anthony Edwards is in.
Okay. Yeah,
that's something.
And that's a good point that Kobe's making in chat here. That Tyler Smith will be the only big if Lopez is out. The only thing I would say about that is that against the Knicks playing, I don't know too much about Tyler Smith's game. I was prepared for a lot of things today. I was not prepared for the Tyler Smith conversation. That is interesting, but do you need to play a big against OKC who really only has Hartenstein, and he's not like, I mean, he can create things and stuff, but like, it's not like he's going to, you're not as worried about getting beaten up down low by Hartenstein in general. It's not, and also he's another guy who stretches the court. So I don't know who's the right guy that would, like, is he the guy that would come out on him? Could you get away with playing Taurean Prince on him? Probably.
No, I don't think that's even relevant. I think that the game is going to be a shit show. It's just a question of who's going to get on the court to just play minutes.
Maybe.
I don't even think they're strategizing at all. It's like,
well, they'll try to put their best foot forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's not going to be what Tyler Smith is there for. He's not going to be he's not going to get there because of their game plan to get Tyler Smith in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just going to fall his way if it's like he'll get in there because the game is over and he'll get hot and they'll leave him in and he'll play 20 minutes. It's like,
yeah,
I guess. Naz Reid playing, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, and as Brendan's asking again, is the move to fade the 7 p.m. games? Well, the answer to that is pretty much, I think a lot of it hinges on whether or not Jordan Poole plays.
Yeah, of course.
But even if Jordan Poole doesn't play, there's actually so much value that you could still make an argument for fading these early games.
Sure.
I don't think it's unreasonable.
But that's always a question, by the way, that you always have to ask yourself when you have all this like big time value later, right? So you have all this big time value later, and then all of a sudden this news comes out. Let's just say that Poole is out, and some guy at 3K is starting. Okay, it's not going to be the case. Let's just say that some guy at 3K is starting at guard and whatever it is, and you think, well, you know what? I don't really need to play him because of all this value later. But don't forget that early value might,
Oh, it just cut out there. The volume just cut out there for some reason. I don't know how your volume. Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me. I can't hear you at all. Guys, can you guys hear Sheets? Let me know if you can hear Sheets in the chat so we can make sure we got this right.
Oh, it says
there it is. There it is.
We're back?
Yeah.
So what I was just gonna say is that if just be careful that if you think that way, that I don't need this early value because the late value is so good, just make sure the early value isn't just as good. It probably wouldn't be in this situation, but it's always something you have to think about.
Absolutely. And what it means is I don't know. I'm not going to cross off the guys from Detroit. What I will do is I will X out Tim Hardaway Jr., for example. That's one no matter what. And look, by the way, not that he can't get hot and have a game, but there's no reason to do that on this kind of a slate to me. Just absolutely none. I'll probably cross out Malik Beasley is another one.
Right.
Just don't need those plays. And look, somebody might get there and Isaiah Stewart might get there. I'm just going to live with it. You know what I mean? That's fine. There's still plenty of other guys. I've got guys projecting at almost 10x tonight. I don't really need to worry about the extra 3K guy, especially like in Isaiah Stewart's case, who takes up a center spot. Even though he's one I actually probably won't cross out just because.
Ja Morant is a game time decision.
Great. They always do this with him, and it drives me freaking crazy. Which probably means actually with him, I think it actually means he might be more likely to play, but I actually thought he was going to play after the more I looked today. That was my guess. And I think he gets up for these. I think he likes this Wemby stuff. He's already got the dunk on Wemby and everything. And I think
he does? I thought he wasn't dunking this year.
I know, that's what he said. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. I love my family, and it's great to be at their place. But I have to say, I sometimes wonder they don't realize that some of them don't have jobs anymore, and they're older and stuff like that. But they text me. They're like, "Oh, let's go do this." I'm like, "Guys, I really have to work for these times. I'm very busy for these times. I can make time the other times, but I can't do this one." So I'm getting all these messages. All right, let's see.
Tari Eason is probably a good play.
I think Tari Eason and Deshaun Tate are both good plays, as is Cam Whitmore. If you're not going to play those guys.
And do you think now which one's starting? Are they both starting or just Eason?
Tate and Eason are supposed to start.
They're both starting.
And Tari Eason is a baller. Like he and Thompson are like they can do stuff. Like they're similar type of mentality. They sort of play like a chicken with their head cut off a little bit, like the lunatic style of defense and offense, sort of like old Westbrooks, but like bigger. Yeah, I'd like to get some more of that stuff because I do like that the Tate play, but I really like the Tari Eason play. I think you know what? I didn't like the Houston to come into this game against the Knicks. I think Houston's going to put up a good fight against the Knicks tonight and maybe win that game without these guys. I really like this. I like a little bit sometimes when Şengün and Van Vliet aren't there because these other guys get a chance to really show off and they're really good. Cam Whitmore included.
And Thompson, like you said, too.
Yeah, I'm surprised the projection hasn't gone up a little bit higher.
Jalen Green. I mean, like you said, all these guys.
Yeah. And on other slates, these would be like the core, but there's just so much other stuff out there. I mean, look at on a huge slate, you've got 7 of the top 10 from Milwaukee. It's tough. And Brooke Lopez is still officially questionable. So it's only Tyler Smith cheats. This might be the first time we have a guy who hasn't played a game become the absolute mega chalk, you know?
We have a note that that's interesting. Not a big deal with it. Reed Shepherd's workload not expected to increase as per the coach.
Okay, I'll take that as a real thing because that Udoka doesn't mess around.
And that's like something you wouldn't just say for no reason. You know,
no, it's because people would speculate maybe they give Reed Shepherd a chance. It's weird that Houston's having the greatest season in basketball they've had in any recent time and all this stuff. And people are still criticizing them not playing Reed Shepherd enough because he was the number 2 pick in the draft. It's like they're good. Reed Shepherd will get plenty of time in a couple years.
He said defensively he's got to improve because he got blown away by a few times. Got blown by a few times too many. Shepherd. Yeah,
that sounds right. And Udoka is a stickler. Like I mean, this is a guy who tried to fight LeBron James this season. Like he called him a bitch to his face while they were playing him.
Is Miles Turner's questionable a late day downgrade?
Miles Turner's, let me just double check. I think I saw it earlier.
Okay.
this is a trade speculation. I don't know why the Pacers would trade Turner, but everybody seems to be talking about Turner just like Kuzma, sort of the Kuzma thing. So my guess is that maybe that has something to do with it. But honestly, if he's out, Thomas Bryant becomes like almost as good a value as Rollins, probably,
or Obi Toppin. I mean,
or Obi Toppin. And by the way, in that game, there's rumors out there that the Lakers have a deal for Walker Kessler, and Walker Kessler still has a projection for Utah tonight. There's a deal that Hachimura and the pick are going for Kessler. So I'm telling you, it's wild this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that I'm just not using value from the early games until if Poole's out, I'll reconsider. But I'm not going to do anything about that until I hear about anything with
Poole. Well, they should probably let us know sometime soon at 6:25, right?
Yeah, hopefully in the next 10 minutes or so.
Atlanta, Detroit, it's clean, right? I mean,
yeah, as of right now, I mean, there's nothing.
There's nothing questionable, at least on the board.
Yeah, I don't see anything on there.
Knicks and Houston look clean. So the only thing we're really waiting on is Poole to get at least to get the slate started, right?
Yeah, and I'm not buying the Houston projections for what it's worth. I think there's a flaw there.
Well, they have to update, right? Or no?
Well, they updated some things like Tate at some, Eason some, Whitmore decently.
You don't think enough?
I don't think they upgraded Amen Thompson enough. I mean, who's their shot creator? It's him and Jalen Green.
Right.
So whether or not they do, I will certainly update.
Yeah, you know what, Houston, but well, on SaberSim at least, they haven't even put the starters up in there, I don't think.
Yeah, they didn't announce the starting lineup. They just announced those two guys would start for Şengün and
well, they did upgrade. Yeah, they upgraded Tate.
And
someone's got to project higher than this, right? They have two guys projecting over 30 points. I mean, like,
yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, and Reed Shepherd they did not bump up. So I think there's updating to be done there. I really do. I just don't think it's there. But still, like Tari Eason, 5.5x at 5,400 as a median. I think he gets 40 here a lot of the time. You just got to hope that the game's close. And like I said, I think Houston can put up a fight here. They're tough. They have their coach's mindset. They're tough. They're a tough team.
Yeah, they put up a fight. I think when they put up a fight, it's going to be a slow game, though.
It's possible. But the Knicks are not the same old slow Knicks, though. They play faster now.
So let me just see. As far as value, I have Rollins, Anthony Edwards, Murray, King Cunningham, Monk, Aaron Wiggins.
Love Aaron Wiggins.
Okay.
Well, okay, I love Aaron Wiggins on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I don't think you need to do it. He scored 40 real life points. Was it yesterday or the day before? Like, that's pretty crazy with the guys they have on that squad. And I know not everybody played, but still, like, I mean, also he'll get the blowout run too. Well, some of it at least. Yeah, 2 days ago he had scored 40 real life points. That's Jesus. 40 and no. Did he have 40? Yeah, 41 and 14. Jesus.
So it looks like the Rollins is going to be the thing, right? Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and he does stuff out there, but again, there's nothing's 100%. It's just hard to ignore that projection because that seems about accurate to me. And they the only player projected over 30 fantasy points for Milwaukee is Lopez, and he's
here's something that's interesting. We don't exactly know who the Knicks starters are going to be.
We don't know who the Knicks starters are going to be
because of OG.
Yeah, they've been playing a lot more Precious. I don't know that at 5,100 I'd be getting to Precious anyway, but I'm not going to fault anybody for it. It's just not for me. Miles McBride is fine on a different slate.
Molly, be quiet. I know. Mommy's there. I know.
Kevin is asking about Vassell or Castle. Those were two guys I had thought of earlier today. I mean, they're different prices, but both are fine. I'm not trying to get to either of them. I didn't change anything with their projection. If I get to a little bit of them, so be it. But I have no interest in trying to go out of my way to get Vassell or Castle. It's sort of a regular night as far as things go for San Antonio for the most part. They don't really have a whole lot of a different squad than they did. They just don't have Fox in there yet, but that doesn't mean anything. And he's doubtful officially, Fox, for what it's worth. I don't think he comes into this game. It's my guess. I'm just going to take a quick look at that Levine thing again, because I did have a little bit of interest in some of the Sacramento, and I don't even have Levine as like a possibility. I don't even know if he's there. He might be traded again before. He might never play a minute for them.
Right.
So we'll see. All right, let's see what else. All right, I'm going to go in like 4 or 5 minutes because I'm going to finish my early builds, and hopefully we'll have news soon.
Oh yeah, I can't finish anything really.
Yeah, without at least the first news, it's really hard to do anything. But I will say my biggest buy-in on DraftKings because of all this value, I probably am just going to play Luka and Wemby in the center and lock up my utility.
Jokic, you mean?
I'm sorry, Jokic. I do that so often; it's ridiculous. I probably am going to play Jokic and
is Wemby power forward eligible?
No.
Okay.
I would like it if he was, but you can't have everything. But today it's more about the guards, I feel like, in terms of the value. So I can use the value of the guards, play those two spend ups together, and I still can build out. Like I'll play a few of these 3K guys, but I'm still going to have like a couple of 6K spots. I could probably play those two with Amen Thompson and get away with it, or with Eason and somebody else who's in the 5 or 6K range. Trying to think of who that would be in that range. Maybe a Wiggins or maybe a. Maybe, I mean, look, that's where you could use Vassell, but I think the guy for me, I really like this Christian Braun speculation that I'm going to go with. And I think that's the one you want to get overweight on, in my opinion. Because if Gordon's out, Braun is going to look great. And Braun already looks really good without Westbrook. And with Westbrook playing, he's still been going crazy. So, and also he'll probably get the last part of the blowout run. You know what I mean? So the early last part, like the 6 minutes to go, we're up by 22. He's not coming off the court, even if Jokic is probably.
What about? Oh, I think Jordan Poole is playing.
He's in, you think?
I think someone just posted something. Yeah, Jordan Poole will start.
That's terrific, because then we don't have to worry about nonsense.
Then we do not have to worry about nonsense, which means probably don't have to play anything.
You definitely don't have to. Like I said, I'm not in the max entry. I'm going to leave some Duren. I'm going to leave some Cade Cunningham. I'm going to leave some Trae Young, but none of these are going to be more than like 10%.
What about Valanciunas though?
Valanciunas is another one I'll have maybe around 10% of. But the problem is I actually like Jordan. I never liked Jordan Poole, and I'm always right because they always get smoked and he only ends up with 20. But that's because they don't get to play long enough. Jordan Poole is actually the one who's in play, I think.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I think he's the one I like the best of the early games. And Mark Williams on FanDuel, that would be one I would marry myself to. And Micic lost his Q tag, so I'm guessing that means he's a go, even though I didn't get an official word on that. And Kuzma is playing, so
Tyler Smith is starting. Oh no, he's not. Okay.
All right.
I was saying that if they what if Tyler Smith starts?
Yeah. If he does, that's. All right. And thanks, Brendan, for always being. Thanks, MJ, for you guys are great at updating and hit the like button and all that stuff, guys. I'll be in the Discord. I'm going to try and pop in with one of my little voiceover shows. We'll see if you can't get in. Let Goldie know because he'll tell you how to set it up. But it's really easy, and we're going to be doing this more and more. I've been playing around with it. I can share my screen and talk about all my late swap ideas. So make sure you get in there. Sheets, you got anything else before I get out of here?
No.
You want me to leave it on or turn it off?
You can turn it off. It's fine.
All right. Good luck.
Wait, I like one other thing just throw out there for later. If Aaron Gordon is out, who do you think starts?
Braun.
Okay.
If he's not starting already, actually, to be honest with you, I think he'll start anyway. So Strother.
Is Dario Saric in play?
No.
Okay.
Even if he gets there, don't worry about it. Like, well, it would take a certain path, a blowout, and certain weird lineups for that to happen.
Okay.
All right.